Hi, I'm Lauren from LSP Actions. We're going to go jumping straight in with a super quick tutorial adding a heart or rip shape overlay to this dog portrait. I have cropped out a little bit on this one, but what I'm going to do first before we get started is just duplicate the background. Control Command T, and I'm just going to kind of rotate and move this around a little bit so we have doggy kind of popping out of the heart a bit more. I can kind of see it in my head. I'm not worried about these areas here because they're going to be covered up. I'm going to show you also how to apply an overlay by hand. So I'm going to get rid of the actions for a moment. What I recommend doing is coming up to File and choosing Place Embedded and locating the ripped overlay downloads on your computer. And you can go ahead and locate the overlay you want. This image is very white, so I'm going to go for one of the pure white ones. How about we try this one, Torn Paper 11, version 8. And Place Embedded is going to add this straight in for you. At this stage, I recommend checking the light so the dog is lit from camera right. So what I'm going to do is just rotate or flip this overlay around a little bit, just so we have the lighting matched up. You can also come on where it says opacity on your layers panel, and you can turn this down a bit so you can get a really good crop where we're kind of having doggy jumping through. I might even make this a little smaller, and it's okay because we can fix the edges after. Let's go about there. I'm going to come on the opacity and bring it back up now. And you can see we've already got a really great match with our colours. At this stage you can tweak and add the overlay if you want to. I recommend on your adjustments panel adding levels or curves. Right click, create a clipping mask. The actions do all of this for you, but this is if you don't want to use the actions. And we can darken this, we can tweak it, we can change it if you wanted to. And that is going on our torn paper. At this stage also I recommend adding a layer mask. It's the rectangle on your panel with a circle in. That's going to add a mask. A mask is like a Lotto scratch card. White means show, black means hide. This is all white right now, which means that torn paper is showing. If I Control or Command I to invert this to black, it's hidden. Can you see that? Same with brushes. Now I actually want the dog popping out of this one. So what I'm going to do right now is just hide our heart and click on our dog layer. If you're in an older version of Photoshop or a limited version such as Elements, you might have to hand mask this, but because I'm in Creative Cloud, I'm going to go over straight away with Object Selection. And you can see that's done a really nice cutout of the dog. But to refine this, I'm going to go Select, Select and Mask. I also recommend doing this if you've got a hair to cut out, hair or fur or anything like that. I've just clicked on our Refine Edge tool up here, like a little brush. Make it a little smaller. And I'm just coming round the edge of our dog here, and it's just helping pick up some of that fur. And the reason I like to mask first rather than doing it by hand is it lets Photoshop do a lot of the legwork for you. I'm going to hit OK, and we've got marching ants around our subject. I'm now going to turn the paper back on, click on the layer mask we've added, which is white. So I'm going to grab a brush, set to black. Let's bring the flow up a little bit, make our brush a little smaller. I don't want to mask the tail or anything, I just want to come in and paint in black on our heart to reveal the dog underneath with our renewed selection. Just painting in. If you're in an older version of Photoshop or Elements, what you're going to want to do, you won't be able to get this accurate subject selection. So what instead you're going to want to do is get it straight on that mask and start masking in black. Get close to your subject to make sure that you know that you're doing a good job. It can take a little longer, but it's worth doing if you want to get this pop out. Control or Command D to deselect. Or you can go ahead and download Creative Cloud and you have these options built in for you. So you can see now we've added our dog popping out. But what I want to add is a few shadows, and I want to add these on top of our heart layer. So I'm going to click on the heart. Curves is already clipped in, but I'm going to add a levels layer. So on your adjustments, go to levels, right click, create a clipping mask. So it's clipping, see the arrow here, it means it's only affecting our hearts. If I take this down, for example, you can see it's only affecting our ripped paper, sorry, not our heart. I'm going to bring the middle slider down, the blacks down, making them darker, and on the bottom I'm going to bring the pure whites in. So this is making our whole ripped overlay a lot darker. We don't want the whole thing darker, we just want to use this for shadows. I'm going to darken even more actually, it's made it really dark. So you can click on this adjustment layer mask now, Control or Command and hit I. That inverts the whole thing to black so we can't see it. So now we can grab our brush, set to white, to paint where we want this to show. I'm using a soft brush. Ooh, no I'm not, now I am. A soft brush just to paint under our dog a little bit here, just so we get some shadows popping in, just a little. Some little shadows on the heart of where this doggy is going to be popping through. If you wanted to add any shadows to your dog, you can click on your dog layer, or I mean saying dog, you know, your subject. And again, darken this down so you can see now what we're affecting is only the subject layer because we're underneath the heart adding this darkness in. Control or Command I to invert. And I can now add a little bit of darkness to this dog as well, just so we're just blending everything in. Just trying to think where natural shadows might show. If you accidentally colour in too much, you can just switch to black and hide it. And there we go. Now you notice we do have some discrepancies around the edge. At this stage I would just crop in, but you might decide that, you know, cropping might get rid of too much of this and you might want to instead fill those areas in, and that's also okay. So I'll show you how, I'll show you what I would do, and you can rotate as well. As with everything in Photoshop, there are 1,000,001 ways to get the same result. So here's how I would do it. I'd click at the top of your layers panel. I'd select all, which you're going to get marching ants around your whole image, and then edit, copy merged. And this is going to copy everything you can see, not just one layer, everything. And then edit paste, and you can see this is pasted now, a new layer with everything in. At this stage you can just grab a selection tool and you can just kind of go around any of these areas, hold down Shift to make multiple selections that you need to fix. If you're in Creative Cloud you can use Generative Fill. If you're in old Photoshop you can use Clone Stamp, which is here. So with your Clone Stamp you would click on an area of the background you want to sample and you start painting this in. The reason I like selecting first is because it means that I've got an area that I'm working on. So I'm not trying to kind of avoid areas of the canvas. I can afford to be a little bit sloppy, and who doesn't like that? But what I prefer to do is in full Photoshop is edit, fill, make sure you selected the areas, choose contents, content aware, and hit OK. I find in general this just works really, really well. At this stage, Control or Command D to deselect, and your image is done. So we've gone from this to this. Really, really good fun and great to provide for your clients. So that's how to edit manually. I really hope that's helped. You can watch all of the other tutorials on these bite-sized snackable tutorials, which are going to give you not only the best tips for using these torn papers, but some Photoshop tips too. I hope they help. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.